Dave again, and we are the high school tennis guys. This one is going to be about the fastest way to solve big problems on your team, but I think it's going to be a little bit different maybe than you thought it was going to be. So Dave's going to lead it off, and then I'm going to do something that maybe it stretches your identification of what it means to be fast. Fast doesn't necessarily mean instant.
Well, the topic here is solving those problems that might come up. How do we address them? How do we solve them? And I think we need to take a step back, because I think one of the things that I've learned over the years is that problems arise generally because we were not as prepared or anticipated things or did not predict. And that's, for a new coach, that's very hard because you have no previous experience. So I'm here to tell you that the number one thing that created the opportunity for me not to have problems is the things we've talked about in these videos. One is communication. They're very distinctive patterns of what expectations you have and what parents, players, and your responsibilities to them are. Yes, you will find issues that come up, and Bill, you're going to be talking probably about a couple issues that I know, and I've had problems. I mean, we've had issues with parents occasionally because a parent didn't understand the dynamics of what we were, and as soon as I met with them. So number one, my solution is, if you do come into a problem, address it immediately. Do not don't assume it's just going to vanish, because in most cases, the kid is going to go home, say to a parent, and tell their side of the story. And then it's usually not the real objective storyline. And then the parent's going to come to you, and it's not going to be what actually happened. So make sure you address things very quickly. I'll let you kind of jump on that.
Yeah. And I mean, I think you need to run to mom first. So yeah. If you've done anything that in any way could be misconstrued as being wrong, then your first call should be to your athletic director and say, hey, heads up, something just happened. Here's what it is. Here's what I saw, right? And then depending on that parent, how well you know them, you might want to say, hey, we had a little issue at the courts today. I'd love to discuss it with you, at your earliest convenience. And then they know that you're ready to be forthcoming with all that. So now I'm going to take it to where you've done all that, and now you're still having this ongoing problem, right? You've talked to your athletic director about problem players. You've talked to their parents about how to reach them. They're still not doing what you want them to do. So in one season, I had a guy who played 2 and a guy who played 4 for me. And the guy who played 2 would miss practices and matches, and he would make up stories. He would lie about what was happening, and he was expert. They pulled at your heartstrings, and he made it hard to question because how could anyone question that somebody had to go help out their little cousin, right? Or my uncle's sick in the hospital. I mean, so because then you just come across like a jerk, right? So he was so expert at coming up with things that were like unverifiable. So anyway, after a little while, my captains ascertained that he was lying, and it continued, and he was doing that. And then I had another guy, and they were buddies, who my rule is that everybody stays for the entire varsity match, because you're there to support the team, because I don't see anybody leaving the bench of a basketball game, or baseball. You don't leave the dugout until the game's over, right? So it's kind of like a every sport thing, but tennis is so loosey-goosey because people are off the court. So this guy would sneak away. So anyway, I had some consequences for them that were easy for them to perform, and they never did them. So what I did, the one guy actually eventually just quit because I started to question him, and he knew I was on to him, and so he quit the team. And then the other guy, it was coming up on going to represent the school at the individual championships, and he thought he would now have a single slot because the other guy quit. Well, I didn't put him on the team. I read the roster for the team to the team, and when he didn't hear his name on it, he ran to the gate and immediately quit the team. And so on the way out, I said, it's okay. You never were a team player anyway, you know, so bye-bye, right? You know, this was shocking to the team that he just up and quit. I mean, he made his decision right at that moment. But now here's the funny thing. That looks horrible on the face of it. But then because of that, because those two sort of cancerous people who were so negative in so many different ways on the team were gone, our team wasn't as good. We lost some matches we might have won before, but the kids were 100% happier. And that became the impetus for what became maybe the most miraculous championship my teams have ever won, because out of that came the genesis of real, true valuing of the team unity, and everybody's all in for everybody else on the team. It wasn't a quick solution. So you see how there's like a balance between these things. I mean, what Dave said is theoretically really true, and that's very practical, and it can avert a lot of problems. But then you get some very strange, weird stuff can happen. Right. And so that's a wrap on this one. Ready? Go.